Here at Studio 5, we love to highlight and recognize strong female forces. And my next guest is no exception.
Sit up straighter. Make sure you cater to what he wants. Dim your fire.
Bri Ray Aupiu is a singer and songwriter born and raised in Orem, Utah. Her original music has received national and international recognition, and she's performed in venues all across the nation. Recently, Utah Business Magazine named Bri as one of the 30 women to watch, and she joins me today in Studio 5. It's so great to have you.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. Otherwise, I would say let's just listen to your voice for the rest of forever. You are talented.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Where did your passion for music begin?
You know, I wrote my first song when I was 8 years old. And
I'm sorry, 8?
Yes.
8 years old.
Yes, it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was great, for sure, but it was all about believing in yourself, and it was really just about all of the values that my father taught me growing up. And so I dedicated the song to him in all of my 8-year-old glory, did my first show at 8, performed it at one of his business conferences, and fell in love with writing and singing and performing.
Talk to me about performing in particular. Here we have Bri at, what was that, about 8 years old, I would imagine?
Probably,
sitting
right
at the
around
keys.
then, yeah.
What do you love about taking that gift and taking that passion to the stage and sharing it? Because performing comes with its own level, I think, of and its own demands.
Sure. For me, it really is about connection and communication. I have not always been and still struggle to communicate with words first. I would much rather write a song about how I'm feeling. And so it starts there for me, and then being able to communicate those vulnerable experiences or emotions and connect with people on that level through performance is really neat.
You mentioned your dad, and I understand both of your parents have been an important influence in your career and your life. Your dad passed away this year, and you shared this thought on your social media about their marriage and their relationship. You said, I watched them support each other and choose each other over and over again. I watched them bend and break, reinforce and rebuild. And after my dad's stroke, when words quite literally could not be spoken, their love grew louder. How have your parents and their love, their relationship been a motivation for you in your career?
I think first and foremost, their ability to express and show love for each other through every life change. I mean, and their marriage had humongous life changes. My dad was a dynamic public speaker and motivator and business consultant, and he traveled internationally. And then he had a stroke when I was 15, and he lost all ability to speak and was completely paralyzed on the right side of his body. So then my mom had to kick into gear, and she went back to work and was taking care of us full time while also helping him rehab full time. And she helped him rehab to the point where he could talk again and he could work part time. And we did 50-mile bike rides together every year, like just totally beat all of the odds, but he could not have done it without my mom and her dedication to him and their relationship. And I think that example for me is true humility and love and showing absolute grace for each other, to be with each other and to guide each other and help each other and lift each other through all the ups and all of the downs.
I love the words you used, humility and grace. That's needed in every good relationship.
I agree.
But as you described their story, I was thinking, what depth of character, both individually and then together as a team, that depth of character, it sounds like, carried them through and really inspired you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. And it's still just what I try to live up to and try to learn from every day.
I love that. I love that. You have an original song, Bri, titled Safe, and I'm going to call attention to the lyrics and then we can listen together. You say, what if we choose to celebrate the differences that we can't change? What if we choose to be okay with who we are and how we're made? We start to feel safe. Let's listen to a clip in music form.
What if we choose to be okay with who we are and how we're made? Oh, we start to feel safe.
Safety is a word that we sometimes throw around, but we don't really stop to process what that can mean for us in our everyday life and in our everyday relationships. What do you hope people take away from that message in particular?
I think specifically the idea of safety is really just belonging for me, and the ability to feel safe within yourself and to belong to yourself and recognize yourself in your truth, stand in that truth, accept that truth, be who you are truly, so you can belong with yourself, so that you then can open yourself up to allow other people to belong with you safely.
I love that.
And that's really the true message that I hope my music, and I hope every project I dabble in or spend time with, I hope that's what will come across.
Is that sense of belonging.
Absolutely.
Safety becomes belonging. Well, let's talk about a few other projects.
Sure.
Because on top of a singing career, you founded a company called Raising Me. It provides resources to parents and children brought together through interracial marriage. And from your experience growing up with parents in an interracial marriage, what is one specific message about that dynamic that you hope to communicate through your work on Raising Me?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we really focus on interracial marriages and transracial adoption.
Okay.
So mixed families of all sorts.
Yes.
And truly the biggest purpose here is to help these children and help the parents raise confident children who have an understanding of their racial and ethnic identity, because it plays a huge role in your identity development down the road, and your ability to be confident in yourself through and through and to feel belonging with yourself.
There it is, full circle.
And so it really is a full circle thing. And so I want to make sure that parents who are raising children of a different race have the tools, the resources, and the support that they need to raise the most confident child that they can.
What is one principle to a parent out there, a couple that fits that dynamic you described as they strive to raise the confident child that you described?
Sure.
What's one principle that maybe worked in your life that you hope other parents can apply as well?
My dad used to come down to my room every day, and he would rub my back and tuck me into bed and sing me a song. And before he'd leave my room, he'd say, "Brianna Lynn, you are enough. And no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you are enough." And through every conversation we ever had, it was always pulled back to that. When I would straighten my hair every day, he would say, "You're enough as you are. The good Lord blessed you with curls and you're straightening it." But it was always a reinforcement of you were made correctly and you are already correct. Step into that energy, step into that space for yourself and create room for yourself to be you truly and fully. So for parents, the principle I go back to is you have to understand the power that is uniquely your child's, that is uniquely theirs, and help them recognize it and step into it.
I used to, a few years ago when affirmations became so popular, your dad speaking to you, "You are enough," Brianna Lynn, is that right?
Brianna Lynn.
I used to think of affirmations like, do we really need to say it that overtly? But someone once explained it to me that the world is so noisy that if parents aren't cutting through with the direct words like your dad did, those messages might not land. But here you are years later quoting that exact phrase. And it becomes part of you, doesn't it?
Absolutely, 100%.
Oh, Bri, so great to meet you. Where can we learn more about your music and your projects?
Well, you can keep up with all things life, music, marriage, love.
You got your hubby here in studio.
I know, he is here. You can keep up with all things on my website or my social media.
Yeah.
Both are thebriray.com.
All right. Thank you for giving us some of your time today.
Absolutely, wonderful to be
And
here.
we'll post a link to her Instagram as well so you can connect over.